I remember learning about the Be Do Have paradigm of like, who do you need to become? What do you need to do in order to have the life of your dreams? And I remember learning about that very, very early on. There's nothing wrong with that way of thinking. But what I started to realize was I was always thinking of everything was now outside of me. Success is outside of me. Everything I want is like, I need to become it. And becoming it was like, but I need to be that. And then the reason I'm not there yet is because I haven't become it yet. And I was always in this cycle of like trying to become something, but it was never real because it was never who I am, and who I am was never enough. So it was always an internal discord because it was like, oh, but that's the reason why I'm not successful yet, or that's the reason why I don't have that yet because I haven't become this thing. And so that became my entire existence was trying to become something, right? What started to shift, and I remember this so deeply. I had this vision in my mind, and I'm sure we've all done this before, where I had this vision in my mind of who I needed to become. And I used to envision, I used to do these programs, and people would say to you, like, who are you going to be? And what is it going to feel like when you reach millions of dollars and all these things? And I remember kind of, it's funny because I was like, when I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna have this and this and this, and my life's gonna be amazing and everything's gonna be perfect. And I remember, oh my gosh, this makes me emotional, but I remember after my first years and years ago, my first six-figure cash month, realizing that I was exactly the same and nothing had changed. And I was still the same person. And it really puzzled me. Really, really puzzled me. I was like, I thought I was going to be everything. I'm like, I'm the same. I've still got the same fears. I've still got the same things that I do. And I remember this moment of thinking, like, I didn't actually have to become something other than who I was. I needed to move with who I was and make small adjustments every single day. And day by day, moment by moment, edge by edge, I became everything. But to be honest, I feel like I'm still the same. I'm evolving all the time, but the core of who I am is the same. And I think sometimes we create a lot of separation because we think that we need to become something outside of who we are. And it's like, we actually don't. We actually don't. You need it, it's who you are. Who you are now is what's going to lead you everywhere. So we only have these moments of now. And my entire reality right now is a representation of who I've been. And so if I don't like things in my reality, I don't need to become something outside of myself. I need to look at who I am right now and change that and make small tweaks and make small adjustments. That's it. And so it's a great mindset. But what I found was it was always keeping me separated from who I was, because it was all about a future version of myself. But the future version of yourself, there's never a future version of yourself, because right now it's who I am now. Right now, all I have is this moment. And tomorrow could be a future version of myself. But when tomorrow arrives, I'm going to be the same person and the same version of myself. And so if all I have is who I am now, then this must be the version. So it's not really about planning for a future version. It's about who am I now and how do I move now? And what that's going to bring up for a lot of people is a lot of like, oh, but I'm not ready. It's like, well, when will you ever be ready? And so that can also reflect how we often make it the future version that's going to be strong. But it's like, but at one stage, we've got to be that version. And all we have is this moment now. So you may as well be the version now. And so, see my mind thinks like this a lot of the time. I'm very, very observant of the way that my mind thinks and how I move and how I go and do different things. It's like one of my greatest strengths, I think, is my ability to really see myself and to really observe things and to think about things and not just absorb narratives that I might see, because that sounds good. Sounds so good to envision a future self. But I'll just never forget that moment of like, it was me the entire time. And I didn't have to change. I didn't change the future. I changed who I was. I changed how I moved in the moments. It's the moments in between, they're the biggest things. And so, how do you move with who you are? What are the micro shifts you can make? What are the micro moves you can make? This can change so much. And I feel like I end every video with like, this can change everything, because it can. It can. Sometimes looking for these huge, big changes to make, but it's like sometimes it's the small things. Sometimes it's the micro things that we do that truly, I'm gonna say it again, they truly do change so much. But it's like, what if it was you now that went and built everything? What if? What if it was you? What do you do with that? What do you do with that? You just get to go discover what you do with that, because I can't make you do anything. You've got to be the one. But when you're the one, you're the one. It's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Yeah. It's a cool thing to think about, because it's like, you're no longer waiting for like this future version of yourself. It's like, okay, well, if it's me now, then it's me now. I'm not going to wait anymore. Spent my life waiting. So what can we go build? Let's start writing. Let's start building. Let's start creating. Start filming. Just do it. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.